Hey, you! Want to learn how to set up one of the best chaining companions against musketeer ever? A companion with a gap closer, a companion you literally have to farm a dungeon 25 times for in order to get. A companion that is about one third more expensive than most other companions in the crown shop. Yes, today we are talking about the companion Goronado, a very worthwhile companion to buy, and I'll be showing you guys how to set him up and why he can be so useful in some different situations you will find yourself in PvP. Not so much PvE, but I will also be discussing that as well. Alright, so let's dive right into his powers and his other features that make him into the unique companion that he is. So, first of all, you have to farm a dungeon in order to get this guy. It's value of the gold monkey, and you have to complete it 25 times. This is some quest later on in Skull Island, where you're helping out a bunch of Monkeystons, essentially capture this crazy guy called Cortez. Well, yeah, dungeons, not too hard, especially if you're max level, and you can get it done very quickly. This companion's also rather expensive. You know, he essentially costs $13 or $14, at least the equivalent in crowns. But he's a very good companion for a number of reasons. So his first power he has is this ability called Guerrilla Warfare, where he does damage, physical damage, that ignores Buccaneer's time protections like Triton's Song and Triton's Chorus and Kraken's Lament, stuff like that. So it's quite nice for ensuring kills, especially if there are a couple of units that are low on health and in a group. And then we have this ability right here called a Vicious Charge, and this is really what sets him apart from companions like Temujin, uh, Zhang Sha, and other Buccaneer companions that can chain. It's the fact that this guy has a gap closer. And the reason I call this a gap closer is because it increases his movement times 2. So instead of having 4.5 movement that turn, he essentially has 9 movement, meaning that he's actually faster than Nausicaa's regular movement. So notice I said regular, but yeah, it's an incredibly good ability. It also reduces accuracy for 50% for 5 turns, which isn't really the useful part of this ability. It's more the fact that he can charge down musketeers and chain a whole lot. Now here's one of the abilities that I would call a deficiency. Well, sort of. He has Tide 1. Now, most chaining Buccaneer companions have Tide 2, meaning that they have the extra accuracy when they're half health. This guy just has the half. This guy just has the extra damage, so 25%. So it is one of his weaknesses, but once again, if you're fighting musketeers, they don't have a whole lot of dodge, so he's kind of good for that. I would say this companion either completely fails or he's just absolutely amazing. Um, so I don't like basing a whole lot of strategies off of this guy, but he is quite fun to use, that being said. I forgot to mention this, but he's also one of the few companions in this game that are decent and have the ability to jump, which makes a combination of him, El Toro, and Van Flanders on a swashbuckler a great way to farm the Middle Guardian. So that's one of his other uses. Alright then, now that we've seen some of the unique features that set this guy apart, let's go ahead and talk about some setups. So the best setup for most situations is this one here that I already have him set up with. So Bladestone 3, absolutely amazing. Why? Because it takes away the accuracy to dodge ratio when calculating the chance to hit a Bladestorm. And it instead puts in its place the base stat ratio, and for a buccaneer like Goro, man, he's got a lot of strength, so you'd rather have this working for him than have this working for him. Because let me tell you, you look at these musketeer companions here. Do they have a lot of strength? No, no. Like he has more than double the strength that this guy or any other musketeer companion for that matter has. So Bladestorm 3, incredibly good. And chances are Goronado is going to run into an Overwatch, so that would decrease this accuracy right here even more. So Bladestorm 3, incredibly good. Next one, Hold the Line. If you have a companion that can literally stop someone just by being in a particular location, yeah, it's another bonus. You can really only do this once because there are ways to bypass Hold the Line with the aid of multiple companions or pirates on the field. So Hold the Line 1 is really all that's needed. The next one is Relentless 2, which gives them 3 extra attacks that trigger randomly at about a 35% chance. So yeah, and of course that can be triggered with either basic attack, it could be triggered by the Vicious Charge and its Glancing Blow, it can be triggered from a Blade Storm, so chances are you'll get all 3 if you either use this or you get some nice Blade Storms from criticaling or killing a unit. So that's why he's such a great damage carry versus musketeers. Alright, so the next setup you can put on this guy is a bit of a troll setup I saw used once, and the only time I would ever use this is just to troll around, have some fun, but also to catch your opponent off guard. So if you are a swashbuckler, you can put Hold the Line 3, Bladestorm 1, and Relan 2. And what this can be used for is if the swashbuckler has Purge as well, it can be used as a way to punish those who do not bring any hides. Okay? Because if they sit, particularly without a chance to protect, and they know they're going to just run into the Hold the Line if they move up, and they're literally cornered by this guy, then your swashbuckler can come in and purge off the Valor Fortress. Okay? It essentially forces people into a corner, and it removes their protection. So that combo with a nice purge from a swashbuckler can be deadly. Okay? Now, there are ways to counter this strategy, and that, of course, is to hide in most situations, or to bring in contested and use gallant defense. But it limits people's options, and it's particularly good for punishing those who do not know how to use their hides well. So yeah, that is yet one other setup. Now, one that I do not agree with, but I've seen plenty of people use, is the Vengeance Strike 3, which basically stuns. Relan 2, and Blade Storm. Now, I think Goro does best with Bladestorm 3 since he's counter musketeer. I would not consider him good as a counter melee unit simply because he does not have Tide 2. If he had Tide 2, yeah, fine. Maybe Vengeance Strike 3, but he doesn't. So, besties versus musketeers, that is really his strength. So, those are a couple of setups you could try with Goro. I would recommend this one most of the time. The second one I mentioned, use that every now and then to punish people who don't know how to use their hides. And the third one, I would stay away from completely, but just know that it's out there and it's a very popular setup. But now you understand why I don't recommend it. Alright, well, moving right along to this guy's talents. Here we are. So, always go for a Tep 4, nice health bonus, Ref 4, extra 40 damage, really good. accurate, and strength for that nice Blade Storm 3 critical spam the Buccaneers are good with. And the last talent you want to go into Dodgy, because there really isn't much else you can go into. And those are his talents. Well, guys, that wraps it up for Goro. Quack-a-doodle-doo, and peace out. Hey, like what you see and want to help support it? Well, do consider joining the Quack Club. You get access to some exclusive perks such as emotes, privileges for voting, and priority pet morph, as well as priority teaming in PvP. So, if you want to check out what some of those perks give you, then go ahead and do that by clicking on the join button via TheFearsomeRubberDucky on YouTube. Thank you again, and peace out.